Islam has produced more refugees than any other religion. From the beginning of Islam itself, they produced refugees. Why? Because Prophet Muhammad mocked the pagans' gods and goddesses. They asked him to stop. He refused. They talked to his uncle, asked his uncle to talk to him, and he still mocked their gods and goddesses. They were so fed up with him, so they threatened to kill him. That's when he just ran away. He ran away to Medina with his followers. And some of his followers ran away to Abyssinia, modern day Ethiopia. Ethiopia were largely Christians back then, or just like today actually. And their king was a Christian too, and he accepted them as refugees. The same thing as the pagans in Medina. They accepted him and his followers as refugees in Medina. And then they were lured into Islam. Why? Because Prophet Muhammad and his followers raided the caravans from Makkah. And sometimes they went home with more camels, more golds, all kind of merchandise. And the pagans in Medina were lured into Islam. And then they joined Islam. And that's how Islam became bigger. How Islam grew because of the raids, because they robbed caravans. They lured the pagans with golds and stuff. And then they fight among themselves after Muhammad died. Musaylama proclaimed himself as a prophet, which Abu Bakr, enough for Abu Bakr to send Muslim soldiers to kill him, to fight him and kill him. Tens of thousands dead. Why? Because so many Muslims who follow Musaylama, they wanted to leave Islam. And Abu Bakr didn't want them to leave Islam. They rather kill them, than leaving Islam. This is just like what the Sunnah said. If anyone leaves his religion, kill him. The Rashidun Caliph, or the rightly guided Caliph, Abu Bakr, Umar ibn al-Khattab, Uthman ibn Affan, Ali ibn Talib, they were all killed by Muslims. Now, so many people will tell you, oh no, Abu Bakr died because he was old. I don't think so. I don't believe that. I do believe Abu Bakr was killed by Umar. Umar did not want to be the first caliph because he didn't want people to, feel, like he wants to raise in power. So he support Abu Bakr to be the first caliph. However, it was his intention to be a caliph, to be their caliph. I believe Umar ibn al-Khattab poisoned Abu Bakr. Well, Umar ibn al-Khattab himself died in the hand of Muslim, just like Uthman ibn al-Affan, just like Ali ibn Talib, and so many other caliphs after them also died because of the war. Sometimes wars between caliphs because there are two or three people wanted to be caliph, wanted to be the Muslim pope. If you don't know what caliph is like Muslim pope. They're higher than imam. They're higher than just sheikh. They're the top leader. Today, today, you can still see so many refugees from Afghanistan, Yemen, Pakistan, Syria. Well, the war always like create refugee. Even sometimes between Muslims when they fight, they're fighting over the land of Israel back then. Turkey, all these countries, Jordan, they all fight for piece of land, for anything. In Yemen, in Syria, the fight is among between Sunni and Shia, quietly. And then they ran away to the west. They ran away usually to the countries built by the Christians. They don't really go to Muslim countries because most of Muslim countries don't want them. That's the kicker, right? Muslim countries do not accept Muslim immigrants. And the thing is, a lot of times you can see so many of those refugees, they don't have the skill to work, not even in a factory. It's almost they don't have the power to work, they don't have the energy to work, they don't have the speed. I'm sure if you live in USA, Canada, or in the West, you have seen this kind of people. No matter how much you explain the word to them, they are so slow. This is different compared to the Japanese and the Germans. Yes, they were the bad guys during the Second World War. They lost the war, but those people are very hardworking people. They're, they turn everything like 180 degrees from losing everything, and they became the most powerful in economy even. And they are also leading in many things like in medicine, in electronics, in technology. But because the will of the people are there are different bunch of people. And I find so many of those so-called refugees, they are so hostile against Christianity. Of course, the leftists are so happy to accept them because the leftists also hate Christianity. That's why sometimes I pray that the government of Canada, especially, can see, can have a better system to screen the refugees, to screen all these people. So we can have uh, better candidates, better people to live in Canada. I don't want the government to stop the refugee, just because I don't like Islam, just because I hate Islam. I don't want the government to stop Muslim from coming because so many of them are actually sincere. Some of them are good people. The thing is, they're not only refugee from wars, They are also refugees from economy. In a lot of Muslim majority countries, the system is not good. So many red tapes, so many, forget Muslim countries. Look at India. The difference between India and China, right? In China, if you're a woman, in China you can go home midnight by yourself, walking on the street without no one bothering you. But in India, forget 12 a.m. Even 7 p.m. is too dangerous sometimes for a woman to be walking alone on the street. A lot of students from China, they go back home to China when after they finish studying, and the government reduced these red tapes so they can build a business. They can have a startup business, whatever it is. Unlike in India, the red tapes everywhere. They make it difficult. And a lot of students going to different countries to study from India, they don't have the mind to study anyway. They have the mind to settle in that country. That's why after they study, they stay in that country. So they don't bring home their knowledge. So that's why India will never change. So it's like, you know, the country is too dangerous for women to work, you know. So women cannot work late even, you know. So if you check the female participation in labor force, actually it's only 20% compared to China, 60%. That's why the economy in China is bigger than India. If more women go to work, those women, they need more shoes, they need more clothes, more makeup. Maybe they will buy a car to drive to work. Maybe they will take bus. Maybe they will just walk, but they still need lunch. They will buy lunch outside. Whether it's a restaurant or street vendor, doesn't matter. So it will create more jobs even, more opportunities. That's why if the female participation is high, the economy will become bigger by itself, automatically. And of course, these two are the biggest reasons why people become refugees, right? Wars and economy. Although there are a third one, climate change. I don't actually really care about climate change that much because the climate always changes. It was ice age and suddenly everything melted. There's no factory back then, but everything melted anyway. There's no cars and airplanes back then, but ice age, no more. So that's why I don't really care about ice age, about climate change. But climate change sometimes with the flash floods and all this makes life difficult. So sometimes they become climate refugee. I think it's like the people in Kiribati. They should be climate refugee people, you know. Then anyway. So there are three types of refugees, I guess, but mostly from the first two, from wars and economy. All we need to do, if you are a Christian and listening to this, pray that your government will have wisdom in screening of the refugee in making a better system. So to make your country safe, stay safe, not becoming more dangerous year after year. Because, like I said, many of those so-called refugees, they hate Christianity. They hate the West to no end. They were actually once probably back home. There are those one of those people screaming, "Death to America, death to Israel." They are probably one of those defender of child marriage. Anyway, that's all from me for today about Islam, refugee, and just my rant. Anyway, thank you for watching and listening. Whether you're a refugee or a citizen, whether you're a man or a woman, whether you're a Hindu or a Muslim, God bless you all. Have a nice life.